Shaking my head. But here we go. We're getting into our next series, into our fresh best of 3. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is SHIN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. Ooh. Get your gamba going. As again, Clem is going to be the favorite player coming into this. SHIN has caused upsets in the past against Clem. Can he do it again? I feel like a lot of it is going to come down to the builds of SHIN and what he has up his sleeve. Here we go. But yeah, it's one of those things where players, they often either forget to name change or they don't necessarily feel the need to. Sometimes the teams aren't really too strict about it and they don't remind them. It happens. It happens. The real question is, are we seeing Dynasty? I hope not. For those that are curious, for those who've been watching SHIN recently, he has a lot of really quirky builds on Dynasty. So unlike most sane Zerg players, SHIN often does not veto Dynasty, because he's an animal. Este SHIN. So SHIN is actually one of the few Zerg players that allows Dynasty in and plays on it more often than not. To my dismay. Just... It's very coin flippy, whether or not SHIN's all-in works on Dynasty or not. We'll get into it if we do learn into Dynasty. Speaking of being unorthodox, SHIN, he's going for the linear third base, going for the forward expansion, as there was an SCV here towards the left-hand side. So already a cheeky move here by SHIN. This base is very exposed, by the way. We can get into it. The first Reaper has arrived again. It's going to be Hatch Gas full out of SHIN. Reaper takes down the first lane. Queen has arrived in SHIN. He will survive, and we'll see how Clem responds. Clem, he is unaware for the time being. Going for the Tumor. Doesn't quite get it. Tumor does survive. SCV pulls back home, and Clem has yet to confirm what's going on. For all Clem knows, it could just be two-base play, which is not uncommon here on Oceanborn. The reason for this, the reason why this kind of two-base play is a little bit more commonplace, is because there's only one viable third. Typically, this third, it's so difficult to hold on to and to survive with. So very often Zerg players, when they're denied their expansion, they just go for a later third instead. Clem has yet to confirm. And he should be rotating, and he should... Yeah, there we go. He will confirm. He will get eyes on the expansion. Now he knows. And the reason why this third base is often avoided is because of the ramp. There's high ground right next to the third expansion, so these siege lines and these tank positions can be brutal. Likewise, it's very wide open as well. We'll see if SHIN can hold on. We'll see how Clem decides to punish this, if at all. As behind this, we do see Clem going 3CC211. So this tells us that Clem, he actually won't be active anytime soon. He's applying some pressure with Hellion Reaper, but Clem, he is going to be stopping Reaper production, going for the add-on swap into Marines instead. There's the add-on swap. So only 4 Hellions. So there's no kind of crazy Hellbat push or earlier kind of move outs. Clem just poking and prodding, making sure the creep doesn't get out of hand. SHIN at the same time goes for a big link counterattack. The Hellions are out of position, and there's no backup Hellions on the way. Ooh, SCVs are going down. Clem, he's racing back home. So far, good damage dealt here by SHIN. He gets 5 SCVs, 6, almost 7, 8. Oh my god. He gets 8 SCVs, he gets all the Marines. Reinforcements have arrived. Clem, he will survive this, he will defend, but that is a lot of damage dealt early on. 8 SCV kills, forces back the Hellions, and SHIN, he's chilling back at home. He's droning. He's droning up, throwing down a Roach Warren. It is going to be Roach play here by SHIN, not Ling Bane, not initially. So far, so good. And again, this is the sort of thing that SHIN is just really good at counterattacking, at backstabbing, at trying to catch the Terran player off guard. I mean, this is how SHIN has defeated Clem in the past. how he has to, what he has to rely upon here as well. Does get a Hellion, but ooh, a Hellion for a Queen, not the best trade for Shin. Meanwhile, Armory is on the way. Clem, it looks like he's going for a Hellbat push. Interesting. I mean, he doesn't have many Hellions, which is the problem. It's only going to be 4 Hellions for Clem, but it looks like he does feel pressured. He feels really pressured to get some kind of counter damage, and I was expecting something like a Hellbat push towards his third base. I do think it can be quite effective, but after what happened in the early game, I'm less convinced. As the Armory is about to finish, and Clem is moving out. Now, bearing in mind, remember, this was a 3cc 2-on-1, so Stim is done. Stim is already done. We have a decent amount of Marines, and here come the Hellbats. Hellbats are on the way. Now, remember, Shin doesn't have Banelings, but he does have Roaches. Roaches are on the way. And the Roaches will shut this down. As I say that, the Roaches, they've only just begun. Clem sims in. Does him into the mineral line. Queens are getting targeted down. Ooh, no transfuse. 1, 2 Queens go down. Massive pickoffs. And the Roaches, they're too late. Yeah, the Roaches, they're too little too late. There's so many Lings. Queens are falling as well. Roaches, now they're popping up, and they're trickling in. And this may just be too much. We spoke about how exposed and how vulnerable this base is. And, Shin, he gets caught with his pants down. 16 drone kills. That is almost game-ending damage. Roaches, now they finally arrive. But again, too little too late. The damage has been done. 18 drone kills at the same time. We do see Shin counterattacking, getting 9 SCV kills. Not bad. 9 SCVs, I mean, that's not nothing. We're getting scrappy. The game is getting scrappy. Might be 24 drone kills. Ay, ay, ay. Brutal. I mean, at least Shin got 9 SCVs, but it's still not good enough. Clem has a massive worker lead. And Shin will be able to hold, but what this means here is that Clem can snowball out of control in the mid-game. It means he can get into his own production. 1-1 is on the way. The rest of his racks is as well. And that better economy is soon going to be reflected in the army supply. Clem just needs a little bit more time here to actually let that kick in. Meanwhile, Shin is redroning, resaturating. His army is stagnant as a result. Clem going for multi-pronged aggression. I mean, he has the supply to split up. And it's going to be on Shin to try to keep up here with the drop play of Clem. Clem gets an Overlord, closes up the creep. Threatens the 4th. Again, Shin is just being pulled apart, getting a Queen, getting a couple of drones. Drop on the right-hand side. This move out won't get much done. That's another 3 drone kills. Ay, ay, ay. Clem, he's not done. He wants a 4th. Wants another drone. Won't quite get one. But gets a Queen. Barely not. He wants it. He wants the Queen. He gets it. Queen goes down. And back at home, Clem is just building up. He's just building on more bio, more tanks. Again, the downside of Roach play, of course, is how immobile it is. You can see the Roaches are struggling to keep up with the drop play of Clem. And at this point, we can have tri-pronged aggression out of Clem. We have 3 drops out. We have a drop here at the natural, drop at the 3rd, and a drop in the main base as well. Again, Shin just cannot keep up with this. Ay, ay, ay. 11 more drone kills. And at this point, Shin's all in. I mean, he was already all in when it came to the first Hellbat push. But now even more so. You can see Shin, he's not droning. He's not droning, he's massing up nothing but Roach Ravager. Now, if Clem gets caught unsieged, there is a chance for Shin to maybe break the army and then break the natural. But it's a big if. It's a big if at this point. Shin, he's hoping that Clem makes mistakes. As that is 4 tanks. We could even just go for a base trade. Yeah, Shin is moving out. Now, ideally, Shin forces Clem to turn around. That is the ideal, as Clem is pushing towards the 4th. And Shin hits the 3rd. Nice juggling here out of Clem. Nice control. Saves a tank. 4th base goes down. Shin, he's going for the natural. Boys are being pulled. Oh, the Biles! They rain down on the army. Clem paying attention to his main army instead. And he's attacking all 3 bases at once. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, there are 3 tanks on the high ground. Brutal tank shots. And there's no escaping this from Shin. I mean, it was a good effort going for the base trade and going for the counterattack. I mean, he does bust into the main. But I believe Shin, he won't be able to evacuate with any drones. Clem can always lift, and Shin doesn't have any workers out on the map. And GG gets called, and Clem will take game number 1. GG. GG well played. A very, very chaotic game 1. Very chaotic. We had Shin initially doing a lot of economic damage. Remember, he killed like, what, like 10 SCVs? He got a couple of Marines. It was a very good start for Shin initially. And remember, how did Clem respond after losing all those SCVs? Hellbats. He went for an armory, went for a Hellbat push. We saw that Shin did have the tools to defend, in a sense. Remember, Shin, he opened up Roach Warren, but he had no roaches. He didn't make any roaches. He was cutting corners, he was droning. He wasn't really expecting Clem to be that aggressive as at the follow-up or in the follow-up. So Shin was caught with his pants down. And Clem, he snowballed out of control. He got over 20 drone kills with that Hellbat push. It was insane how much damage Clem dealt, and that was kind of game then and there. It was in that moment where Shin had to go for some kind of all-in, but it took him a little bit too long to really get that going, and Clem pulled him apart in the end after getting that lead. And with that, Clem takes a lead, and now we're jumping into game number 2. Here we go. We're getting into that second game, and we'll see if Shin can bounce back, as game 2 is going to be on Alcyone. It looks like we have our map order as well. Okay, so game 1 is Oceanborn, game 2 is Alcyone, and game 3 is Amphion. That's a pretty bold game 3, not gonna lie. But no Dynasty. Thankfully, no Dynasty. Here we go, we're jumping into that second game. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alcyone, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Gaiman Gladiators. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Shin. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. What's happening in the chat? I saw someone saying that, like, Clem seems to only put in physical effort depending on the stakes. I would hard disagree with that. I mean, I think there's like a back and forth happening in the chat, but I think as someone else stated, Clem is very active when it comes to online tournaments and online weeklies, and I mean, there's a reason why Clem, we recently went over in the podcast, the wrap up of the ESL Open Cup like stats, and Clem, he has won the most ESL Open Cups. Again, it shows that Clem, he does put in a lot of effort into them. I mean, there's a reason why he stays up late into the night to play in ESL Open Cup Americas or in the Americas weeklies. He plays until like what, 4, 5, 6 a.m. in the morning to play in those tournaments. So the idea of like saying something like that, saying something like, oh, like Clem, he doesn't like put effort into online cups, just tells me that you don't watch, you just don't watch enough StarCraft, or you don't watch like a lot of these online weekly tournaments that Clem is involved in. It sounds like copium, man. It sounds like copium. Ah. Ay, ay, ay. Which is fine. It's hard to watch everything. True. It's hard to watch everything. Here we go. We are getting out across the map. Is going to be the initial SCV scouts, and Shin did open up 15-15, I believe. Yeah, 15 hatch. So a safer opener out of Shin, that's why he has so many lings, and he is going to try to skirt around the edge of the map, going to try to avoid the initial SCV scouts. Lings are spotted, but Shin, he sneaks out. He sneaks out with 6 lings. Bold move out of Shin. Queen pops out. Clem should be aware that something is a little bit amiss when it comes to the timing of these lings in the spawning pool. Oh, going for the tumor. Oh, doesn't quite get it. Reaper goes down. Clem does overextend. Lings, they're moving out towards that natural, and can they force a delay? Can they even force a cancel? They will at least delay the CC, getting on top of the SCV, and it looks like the SCV is going to go down. SCV does fall. So far, so good. Marine has arrived. And SHIN, he does abandon the natural, guts into the main. Not bad. Getting on top of the reactor. Reactor under fire. Gets 1, gets 2, gets 3 SCV kills. Very nice start by SHIN. Busts into the main base. 4 SCVs go down. The Lings will be cleaned up. And we do confirm that, of course, Clem is going 3CC. SHIN is fully aware. But I do have to remind you, if you weren't watching in the last game in Game 1, SHIN, if you remember, he got what? He got 9+ SCV kills at the start of the game. And Clem, he still bounced back. So this is a good start for SHIN. Don't get me wrong. Very good start. Can he maintain that, though? Can he maintain that lead? That's the better question. As behind this again, Clem going 3CC means he can make 3 SCVs at a time. He can recover economically. Getting into the starport. Likewise, remember in Game 1, it was 3CC 2-1-1. This time, 3CC 1-1-1 instead. We could go for an add-on swap into Hellion Banshee, or we could just go for a Viking or a Liberator instead. I'm curious if we do embrace the Banshee production here from Clem. We are. Okay, we're going for the add-on swap. It's going to be Hellion Banshee from our Red Terran. You're recasting Wardi's live event? I don't get it. We are casting Wardi's event. Wardi's event is open to all casters, so it is not exclusive to Wardi, if you're curious. So Wardi has given us permission to cast. So we're not recasting, we're just casting. This is live. Hello. Hello, fast stuff in the chat. So yeah, this is a live cast. We're casting this alongside Wardi, for those that are curious. How bizarre. When it comes to a lot of these online events, they're open to a lot of casters, whether it's ourselves, Wardi, Steadfast, Rotterdam. I think another example of that, I mean, all online weeklies are an example of that, but another example is the Kalaris Rotterdam Steadfast Cup. If you watch that during the European time zone, that is not only casted by Steadfast, Kalaris, and Rotterdam, it's also casted by Zombie Grub and like Nathanius and Chicken Man. We could cast it if we wanted to. Like, it's just, yeah, it's open to all. As these are just replacements to the ESL Open Cups, which is why they're open to all the other community casters. Oh, Pikachu, you're an animal. Aye. For now, though, we're settling in. Are going to be settling in. SHIN just getting his 4th base. Meanwhile, the Banshees have arrived. They're going to be applying some pressure, hoping to force a cancel on the 4th. Queens are somewhat in position, but the base is getting low. And can we force the cancel? 2nd Banshee soon to arrive. Overseer's almost done. Queens are waddling in. The base is still taking a lot of hits. But it looks like SHIN, can he hold? Oh my god. Can he hold on? The base taking a lot of damage, so close to going down. A couple more volleys. And it looks like SHIN, he will hold, he will survive. Saves the 4th base. It is insanely low though, which means even one drop of Marines could try to stim in, could try to snipe it. Is going to be vulnerable. Likewise, Clem, he still wants it with the Banshees. Hellions moving out. Hellions gets surrounded. Nice catch. SHIN does catch out the Hellions. Banshee slips in. Once again, going for the hatchery, getting even lower. Spore has to reposition. Meanwhile, with the Hellions, Lings, they do hit the 3rd, but alas, Clem is ready for it. Clem does defend. Clem, he defends, he survives. And SHIN once again is embracing roach play. We saw this attempted in the last game. SHIN very fond of his roach play, of course, similar to Dark in that sense. Getting into 1-1, into +1 range. Bathing us behind this tells us that most likely SHIN wants to try to work towards Roach Ravager into Ling Bane. Meanwhile, Clem, we spoke about it earlier, he wants that hatchery. We'll settle for the gold. Forces the cancel. Stimming in. Looks like there was a transfuse on the hatchery itself. SHIN does hold, but his 5th base is denied. At the same time, Ling Rumbai is attempted, but Clem is ready. Clem is in position. Does defend the natural. So far, players are keeping up with each other. We're calming things down. So far, the creep is looking solid by SHIN as well. Remember, because the Hellions got surrounded, there is nothing to really stem the tide of the creep. Clem now being active with a second double drop. And he's got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of creep to clean up. So far, not bad. SHIN not too far behind. Likewise, Job comes back in, going for the queens. Doesn't quite get them. Ooh, Medevac goes down. Marines are left behind. Nice catch out of SHIN. Meanwhile, he defends on the left-hand side, is respreading that creep, maintaining his position. Clem so tenacious, he gets both tumors. Oh my god. He snipes the tumors. Gets out of there. And Clem being so attentive with his Marine micro, with his drop play. Meanwhile, we have our answer. I assumed it was going to be Roach Ravager into Ling Bane, and it kind of is for SHIN, but now he's switching into Ultras. Hive is done, Ultra production on the horizon as well. Vipers are on the way. Let's see if SHIN can get there. Clem trying to pull him apart. Again, just relying on drop play. The tanks are left back at home. Just moving out with Marines. So far, SHIN is keeping up. Bearing in mind there is no anti-air, so there's nothing to really stop these medevacs. At least until the Vipers hit the field. At least until SHIN has power bombs. While SHIN is maxing out. Clem reinforcing his drops. For the most part, SHIN, he is split up. He's ready for this. Ghost Academy's on the way. Both players on 4-base saturation. SHIN just trying to keep up with the Marines, with the drops. Ooh, whilst they do barely graze the drops, Vipers have arrived. And here come those power bombs. Finally some anti-air. And finally one medevac goes down. At the same time, Clem gets 4 drones. Keep SHIN's attention here on the right-hand side. At the gold. SHIN going for his own counterattack. Not much of them to defend, but there's still those Banshees. There's SimCity. Ooh, but Clem not quite looking. Takes the Baneling to the face. Does take a Baneling. Ultra upgrades are on the way. No Ultras yet. We're still waiting for Kindness Plating for Ultra Speed. SHIN is still just rolling up, taking his gases, and maxing out. Getting ready for that Ultra transition. Clem is still just being so annoying here with these drops. Taking down some side defense. As SHIN is embracing Ultras. Oh! Ooh, medevacs. One of them does go down. But as he's embracing Ultras, we have Ghosts already on the way for Clem. Getting into his Ghost production. He's walling up, he's walling off. Sensor towers, planetaries, turrets as well. We are embracing a longer game here. And the question becomes, and again, SHIN, he shouldn't really be looking to push into these entrenched positions. It's all about, can Clem take a 5th? Can he expand and take a 5th base? And when he does, well, I mean, that's the moment where SHIN can punish him, where he can try and catch him off guard, catch him exposed. As Clem is expanding. I say that, SHIN actually wants to push in. Bold move. Is going for the tank line. Decent blinding clouds. Baneling's rolling in. But the SimCity is brutal and they do not get on top of the army. And Clemmy kites back, he shuts down the Ling Bane. And Clemmy barely loses any SCVs. That was not the best trade for SHIN. SHIN has to back off. Clemmy bled out 3 tanks and 2 ghosts. A couple of ghosts went down. And the goal here for SHIN is remaxing on Ultra. Ultras are on the way, and the goal here is that SHIN's going to do that again, this time with less SimCity. Right, with an easier time breaking into that 3rd. We'll see if he can. Clem is rebuilding. So is SHIN. Here come the wave of Banelings. 5 Ultras on the way. 5th base is spotted. SHIN throwing away his Roaches. I mean, at this point, they are dead supply. SHIN refining his army. Spire is on the way. This can be for a greater Spire for Broodlord Infestor, if the game goes that long. So SHIN is setting up. Again, he wants that 5th base. No planetary yet. Snipes going up. Shin going in for the dive. Gets on top of the tanks. Tanks are going down. Bailey's going for the middle lines as well. They do bust in. A nice showing here on the tanks as well. Tanks do 4, 6 SCV kills. No major economic damage, but he reset the tank count. Shin, he backs off. He remaxes already. More leagues and ultras on the way. And I believe most of the Vipers survived. Quickly checking here. Yeah, all the Vipers did survive. The hatcheries are getting low. But once again, Shin is going to back off, remax, rebuilds, and hit the 5th base again. Until it finally goes down. Clem attempting to stabilize. Going down his CCs, more turrets. I mean, this is the kind of the game state that we're in right now, is Clem has to defend. Shin has to remax and keep going. Snipes going up on the Vipers. They don't quite connect. Oh, nice EMP though. Ultras once again, they get on top of the tanks. Bailey's, they bust into the mineral line. Planetary does go down. And that's all Shin wanted. Ooh, leads out an Ultra. Barely survives. But again, that's the win condition for Shin, is just take down the 5th base over and over again and starve Clem out. Creep is spreading, covering the would-be bases here of Clem as well. I'm a little bit concerned. Ideally, the Zerg player wants to saturate these fringe bases and prioritize them as well, because eventually, once Clem gets a 5th base up and running, I mean, the dynamic will shift, and Clem will gain momentum, Clem will break out, and he will eventually take these bases. So ideally, the Zerg player, or at least Cyril, is really good at this. He's really good at just taking these bases for himself and mining them and taking resources away from the Terran. Because once Clem establishes this 5th, then he can take the gold. And then bottom right, potentially top left. And Clem just has the more efficient army. So I'm a little bit concerned here for Shin and the way that he's mining. It can come into play. Meanwhile, he rotates towards the north, ramming into the planetaries. We'll get 1, we'll get 2. Oh, not bad. Clem out of position. Both planetaries go down, the tanks as well. Snipes are brutal. Those weren't bad pickoffs here by Shin, but Clem does hold. Preserves most of his ghosts. Shin backing off, remaxing once again. I imagine rotating towards the south. This time, oh, there is no planetary. It's an orbital instead. I believe that's the main. Oh, no, never mind. But we do have an orbital. There's a bit of a give and take here. On the one hand, it's more vulnerable. On the other hand, it can always lift, so you can save the base itself. Greater Spires on the way. Now you can see Shin transferring workers, taking gases. Only 1 Spire, so the upgrades are going to be lacking here for Shin when it comes to Broodlords. And basically, Clem is waiting for Shin to take a bad fight. And once that happens, then Clem can counterattack. Then he can be active on the map. Either counterattack and threaten the bases, or just break out and take another expansion. It's kind of the game state that we're in. Speaking of taking another expansion, we're going for the gold. 5th base is up and running. Shin is pushing in. Nice EMP on the Vipers. Bailey's once again going for the mineral line. Actually going for the Marines. Marines are going down. He wants the ghosts. He gets them. Oh my god. Massive connections. A good chunk of ghosts go down. Nice piles here on the CC. And Clem takes a lot of damage there. It takes a lot of losses in that fight. It was like, what, a third of the ghosts? And all the tanks as well. Meanwhile, Shinny backs off. He's remaxing. Now he's switching into Infestors. Infestors are on the way. No Broodlords yet. I mean, again, the upgrades are still lacking for the Broodlords. But Infestors, they have potential to fungal. Clem taking another expansion. Attempting to get the gold. Likewise, Shin taking bottom right. I do feel like Shin should have taken this base earlier. Same with top left. Like, this base could have been taken by Shin, and he could be mining from this expansion as we speak. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, but regardless, he gets another base, so it may not matter. Another planetary goes down. The Fungal, there's no follow-up. Or is there? Yeah. Fungal's the ghost, but Shin wasn't quite ready to follow up on that. Let's pull away. Gets us around. Gets a ghost. Not bad. Now Clem is aware. Oh, the Fungals, I should say. Shin gets another ghost. As fighting head on like this, not quite gonna work out. Decent Fungal on the bio, but not on the ghost. That shit is dancing with the army. Doesn't quite commit. There we go. Broodlords are now on the way. Again, they're not the best upgraded Broodlords. They have +1 air attack. But in this position, they can lay siege on the mineral line from the low ground. So Broodlords can abuse this. And Shin, he's hunting or looking for that Fungal on the ghost, on the main army. Smackle is moving forward. Fungal a little bit premature. Rotating around. Shin keeping the Infestors under the Broodlords. Pushing in. Snipes go up. Nice EMP. Does get the tank. And the Broodlord count might just be high enough. How many broods? We have 11. 11 Broodlords for Shin. Without a Fungal, we can't really engage though, and oh, yeah, the snipes are brutal. Snipes going up. He gets 2 broods. Good kiting out of Shin. It's just an awkward angle to look at. There we go. It's a bit of an awkward angle. The Vikings yet. Gets another Broodlord. And more snipes popping up. Infestor's trying to get in position. More EMPs. They don't quite connect. But you can see how difficult it is for Clem to engage. Like, the terrain is just so difficult to work with here. Another big Fungal. Shin just biding his time. Trading with the army. Still on 12 Broodlords. And he does the night mining from the gold. That's all he really wanted. Forces a lift off. Clem rotating around. He's just giving up on the gold base. He's like, screw it. I'm done. Shin, he never saturated the space, so it's fresh. It's a fresh mining base here for Clem, if he takes it. Shin pushing in, and has Clem overextended. The Thors, they go down. Broodlords are pushing forward. Getting more tanks. Shows those Fungals. Not bad. Cashes a couple of ghosts. Shin being so careful with those Broodlords. Fungals coming in, catching 3 more ghosts. Shin, he wants the ghost. Doesn't quite get them. Gets a CC instead. And not a bad Fungal. Shin, he does commit. Takes down more ghosts. Efficient trades. And Clem, he's running out of money. He's running out of resources. He's out of gas. Limited gas income here for Clem. Shin finally takes top left. Didn't even kill the tumor, by the way, which is in the way. It's fine. Getting the northern expansion. Yeah, Shin is just forcing a fight out in the open. Unlike on the high ground, there's no terrain to work with here for Clem. Decent snipes. These snaps are going up, but again, as long as Shin can keep these fights going, he can keep trading. I mean, Clem, he's not maxed. Like, Clem, he's having a really hard time maxing out. He just keeps bleeding out more Ghost. Has to replace them, can't afford it. So Shin, he has to keep the pressure up. Nice snipes. Gets an Infestor. Once again, we're back here at the gold. This time with a couple of Vikings. No Corruptors. Bear that in mind. Massive snipes going off on the Broodlords. Behind this, more Infestors on the way. Still no Corruptors. Vikings, they hold their own. They do their part. Shin going back into Ultra. And it's one of those things where Shin, he's trying to kill Clem, but he can't. He can't get the ghosts. He wants them. Gets another tank. Let's catch a couple of the Thors, though. Oh, the pickups! Clem saves the Thors. Shin is just going to commit. Rolls in with the Banelings. Not the best connections. Does land the fumble, though. Yeah, massive connections. Takes down the Ghost. That's finally what Shin was looking for. Oh, my God. Takes down the majority of the Ghosts. Files a connect. 5 SCV kills most of the tanks. And now Shin, now he can remax on Ling. And can go from here. Clem plummeting in supply. All Shin needed. The one fungal. He got it. I say that Clem is trying to establish another base, but again, he shouldn't be able to get this up and running. Shin is remaxing with Mass Ling. He lost all of his broods. Their Broodlord count was reset. With Ling Bane Ultra, he can deny this. And Clem muling his heart out. Barely has an economy. Shin is giving Clem a lot of time, is what I will say, but I mean, he's maxed. Shin is maxed out. Goes for the tanks are exposed. They should go down. Now we can chase down those ghosts as well. Resets the tank counts. And there's nothing to fall back to. GG gets called. There's nothing left, and Shin ties up the series 1-1. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. Oh my God. We are going all the way to game 3. Again, Shin was able to slow the game down to a crawl. Clem had to wall up, had to wall off, and yeah, Shin with a better economy was able to take advantage of that, was able to knock down base after base, was catching Clem a little bit off guard or a little bit out of position from time to time, knocking down those planetaries, and never really allowed Clem to stabilize his economy. That was kind of, again, the win condition for Shin was deny the mining, deny the gold base, deny the 5th base for as long as possible as well. Clem was unable to really stabilize, and GG. GG, well played. Shin ties us up. We are going to the ace match. We're going all the way to game 3, and we'll see how this story ends. The final game is going to be on Amphion. A very interesting map. Amphion is one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool, but Shin is a very chaotic player. Even in best of 3s, he does often, allow maps like Dynasty or Amphion through the veto process for good reason. Usually it's for some kind of all-in, for some more specialized play. So my eyes are going to be on Shin here in game 3 for what he does and how he does divert from the norm. Now, something that we have seen a lot of on Amphion is mutaplay. We've seen a lot of mutaplay on this map in ZVT just because of the terrain itself, just because of the short rush distance by air. So we could see that. That's also a little bit played out. It's a little bit out of fashion. It's very obvious to scout for that, to get eyes and read mutaplay. So I don't know if Shin is really one to be that obvious. Might go for something different. We'll see. We shall see as we're getting into the ace match. We go. Terran is beatable in the late game. I mean, a big factor that I was trying to emphasize is the fact that Clem was never able to get a solid economy. So on the one hand, it was the late game, true, but on the other hand, Clem was never able to properly max out and like build up any kind of bank. SHIN was just hyper aggressive and just constantly in his face, throwing away a lot of supply to just make sure that Clem didn't have a solid economy, couldn't stabilize. That was at least SHIN's approach. And here we go, we're getting into our next game, into the ace match. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Amphion, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Red Terran player, the French Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Now again, we have seen SHIN defeat Clem in the past. It was what, like 2 weeks ago? I think it was like 2 weeks ago or so when SHIN was able to bring Clem down in the WardiTV Monday. I think it was number 4, so maybe a little bit more than 2 weeks. I think it was around number 4. But again, it was a very different kind of veto process, different maps, different style. Once again, SHIN going pool first. It is going to be a pool first opener. We saw SHIN go for this in game 1. With this, he was able to go for a Ling run by. If you remember, he was able to get, what, like 5 SCV kills at the start of the game. SHIN had a very strong start to game 2. We'll see if we can replicate that here in game 3. As he will have access to earlier Lings, far faster here on Amphion. Meanwhile, Clem opening up Rax Expand. There's no 2-Rax Reaper. Honestly, it's been a while since we've seen Clem embrace that. It's been couple of weeks as he's moving out with his SCV scouts. Spawning pool is done, and interestingly enough, SHIN is going for his queens, yes, but hasn't actually made any Lings. Interesting. So just a very safe opener here out of SHIN. I mean, if Clem had gone 2-Rax Reaper, then SHIN would be in a better position to defend. So as a result, when it comes to the openers, I do favor Clem. Clem going for a standard macro opener, SHIN being very safe, as a result, a much later hatchery, much later expansion, and later droning as well. And Clem confirms. He confirms the timing of the hatchery, he's fully aware. Reaper's moving out. And Clem is just trying to make sure that there's no crazy Ling flood or Ling move out. Not this time. As Clemmy checks the third base. You can see the Reaper was actually kept at home instead of moving out. The reason for this is because Clem expects Lings. So he's looking for the Lings, he's looking for the aggression. Because of that, SHIN was left alone. He's saturating his bases. The Reaper now arrives late. And SHIN is ready for it. All in all, though, I still do favor Clem. Clem is going third CC before starports. And on top of that, SHIN is stuck on 2 bases. SHIN is contained on 2 bases. Will attempt to expand, but there's an SCV in position. Reaper is zoned away. Reaper being zoned away once again, and eventually SHIN will expand. But again, far later than he would have liked. Oh, hello Clem, as behind this Clem opening up double Cyclone. That I was not quite expecting. Double Cyclone production out to Clem. With this, ideally he's going to be hunting down Overlords. And could even follow this up with additional Hellion production. Curious. First 2 Cyclones have arrived. Hellions behind this. Should be setting up for the starport. Ooh, no. Okay, 3CC 2-1-1. Interesting. Something a little more aggressive, in a sense. So basically, instead of going for Banshees like we saw previously, I mean, the Banshees, they almost killed the 4th base, if you remember. Clem is going for faster stim. Much faster stim, much faster bio production. He will have map control with the Hellion Cyclone. He will get an Overlord. A nice pickup. Overlord goes down. Threatens the Queens, forcing out Lings. Lings are being forced out, but he's on creep. Oh, and Clem, he does overextend. 1 Cyclone goes down, 2nd Cyclone as well before the Hellions arrive. Ay, ay, ay. The Reaper as well. Very nice control out of SHIN. Punishes Clem. Gets 2 Cyclones, gets the Reaper. And the Overlord Scout does get in. SHIN, he confirms Stim. He confirms the 2-1-1. So SHIN is fully aware of what's going on. The initial Cyclone Hellion aggression falls on its face. Gets 1 Overlord. And SHIN responds once again with Roaches. Again, SHIN is very fond of roach play in this matchup. He's going to be falling back on roach. Meanwhile, Clem working towards that eventual stim timing and the 16 Marine double meta can move out. I'll say a better start for SHIN just because he's now fully saturated. Clem was hoping for more damage, was hoping for a more robust army, a more robust presence on the map. Has to pull away. And again, Clem is going to be stuck being a little bit more passive, at least until his medevacs arrive. Then he can be active again. Ducklings, the Jukes! They catch one Hellion, but the other three do escape. Clem slips away. Once again, 1-1 range upgrades, or +1 range, +1 carapace. SHIN embracing initially roach play, but this can lead into Link Bane later on. Flames, they confirm the Marines. They hit the third. Delaying some mining, but no major damage. No SVs go down. But again, at least SHIN does confirm the move outs, and he's making roaches. Roaches, they should pop out in time. SHIN should not be caught out. Oh, it does get this round of the Hellions, though. Not bad. Gets two. Gets two Hellions. Clem's army hits the field. The Queens are exposed. Gets one. And gets the second as well. Two Queens go down. Massive pickoffs. Most of the creeping Queens fall. Going for the fourth. And it looks like Clem will force a cancel. Yeah, SHIN not quite in position. Barely not ready for this. At the same time, Ling Rambai gets 6 SCVs. Not bad. 6 SCVs go down. But SHIN is still on 3 bases. Does need a fourth, and taking a fourth base on Amphion can be quite difficult. Again, the terrain is a little bit more awkward. There's this area behind, or the cliff face behind the fort. Drops back in, looking for another cancel, and he will get it. Another cancel on the fourth base. I mean, this is brutal. This is affecting the production, the economy. SHIN stuck on 3 bases, desperately needs that fourth. At this point, maybe worth just double expanding. Never mind. He's all-inning. No drones. No drones for SHIN. He doesn't have a fourth base, but he doesn't care. He's pushing out across the map with a mass amount of Ling Roach Ravager. Back at home, what does Clem have? He has 3 tanks, 2 of them on the high ground, 1 on the low ground. Clem is pretty well set up for this, but one of the tanks is unsieged. Uh-oh. He is caught unsieged. Files coming in. Takes down 1, takes down 2 tanks. There's 1 tank left. And the Files, they will connect. The final tank goes down. SHIN is pushing in. Clem, he's trying to race back home. Marines, they do hit the natural. They do hit the third. Boys are being pulled away. SCVs are going down. And is this too much? Can SHIN get critical damage? He lays siege on the third base. Marines have arrived. I mean, that's a good amount of Marines. Clem, he can hold. He can hold the natural. Oof. But not the third. Yeah, the third base is forfeit. Reinforcements are on the way. Again, there's only 1 tank. There's only 1 tank, and Clem, he was caught with his pants down. He was out of position. Not expecting the all-in. SHIN finally gets his 4th. Gets up and running. 2-2 is on the way. And SHIN doesn't have to commit. He could drone if he wanted to. He could just drone up from here. And just contain. Speaking of. SHIN setting up. Shaving off a couple of Marines. Third CC now being taken. Has SHIN stuck around a little bit too long. Yeah, does have to back off. Does have to respect the army. Looking for a bit of concave. Doesn't quite connect with the piles. And Clem, he sims in. He dives on the army. Takes out the roaches. Yeah, I do think SHIN, he stuck around a little bit too long here. Did overextend. Is going to bleed out quite a lot of units, actually. A lot of roaches go down. Clem now finally re-expands. Takes his 3rd. I'm going for drop play. SHIN backing off. Did drone up to 71. Does have the greater economy. That is true. Which was almost done as well. Means they drop in, they got 4 drone kills, not bad. Now Clem is behind, but he has a lot of potential. I mean, with drop play, anything is possible. The downside of Roach Ravager is just how immobile it is. No anti-air either. I believe the Hydrogen did complete. Yeah, there is a Hydrogen. Marines towards the third. More drones going down. The comeback, is it possible? With Clem, it is. 100%. So Shin has to take care. Again, Shin does not have the greatest economic advantage, but tech-wise, I mean, his Hive is on the way. Lurker Den as well. Working towards Hydra Lurker. Clem denying more creep. And now it's Clem's turn to push. And without Ling Bane, it's going to be a tough hold for Shin. Does get the fungal. But Clem, he gets away. Good amount of Marines go down. Tanks they siege up. Shin, he sticks around a little bit too long. So many roaches go down, and Shinny's in trouble. Has to back off. No more fungals. Drop towards the natural. More drones going down. But bearing in mind there is no 4CC behind this Clem, he's committed. This move out needs to do some economic damage. He has to break down a base. Tanks are sieged. Shin buying time. Still no lurker tech though, or no lurkers. Still no Hydras. Then rallying across the map. One tank goes down to the piles. Shin getting another tank. Oh, they're on siege! Oh my god, not in time. Tank does fall. +3 carapace has begun. Rock's being knocked down. Clem pushing in. And again, he's 3-base all in. The fungal does connect. And shuts down most of the army. Another fungal as well. Looks like Shin. Does he have enough? The tanks are doing a lot of the back line. But Clem, he's running out of steam. Running out of Marines. Running out of Marauders. And Shin, he's getting on top of the tanks. There's 1 tank left. 0 tanks left. Shin holds. Shin holds, and most of the army supply for Clem is medevacs. Just purely medevac. Just a handful of Marines and tanks left. And remember, Clem, he had nothing behind this. As he's picking up his main. His main is lifting over as a 4th, just to keep himself going. Clem was all in. Still is in a way. But Shin holds. Shin, he holds, and now he can finally embrace Hydras, Lurkers, Vipers, Hive Tech. Shinny's getting further ahead. He's getting further ahead. Drop on the right-hand side. Drop towards left was scouted. Clem going for the 5th. But now there are Lunkers. At the same time, drop at the 4th base. Drones are getting picked up. Nice control out of Clem. Again, the drop play in the micro has been insane, but despite, I mean, you could have the best, I mean, Clem does have arguably the best control in the game, but Shin's economic lead was brutal, was insane, and it's just too much to overcome. I mean, Clem is trying, gets a queen. Oh, gets 1 more drone towards the end. Clem faking a doom drop. Ooh, that's still a lot of medevacs. Yeah, power bombs do connect at the same time. No, he pushes into lurkers! Oh my god. He does clean up most of them. Plus transfuse, 1 lurker survives. And Clem, he lost a little bit too much there. It's a bold move. But Shin is looking to clean this up, and Shin is looking to cause another upset. Again, Shin, he was able to defeat Clem a couple of weeks ago, and now he's doing the same. He breaks through the tank line. Took down most of the medevacs. Now he has anti-air. It's Heart of the Swarm. He's got Roach Hydra. Let's go. Stutter stepping forward. Lurkers behind this as well. And again, it's an uphill battle here for Clem. I mean, it has been throughout most of this game. After we go forward, this pans down. GG gets called, and SHIN, he will take the series 2-1. Advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. GG, the upset. He does it again, Bobby. He's crazy. GG, well played again. Winding it back, if you recall, Clem, he was being active on the map with his drop play, with his 2-on-1, as he was being active, as he was killing drones, and it was getting a lot of economic damage. If you remember, SHIN, he wasn't droning, he was massing up Ling Roach Ravager. He went right down mid. He caught Clem unsieged. If you remember, one of the tanks was unsieged on the low ground. He only had 2 tanks on the high ground, and a lot of his army was out on the map in drops. So he was caught out, and from there, SHIN, he crippled the economy, took down the 3rd base, and he was able to get a lead from there. Despite that, Clem, I mean, he went down fighting. He took down a lot of workers with drop play. He was still posing a threat to SHIN, but SHIN held. Barely held on. He survived. GG, well played. We are going to the finals. We're going all the way to the grand finals. It's going to be a PvZ between SHIN and MaxPax. Let's go. Let us go. We have our grand finals ahead of us. Going to be a best of 5 between MaxPax and SHIN. Now, if Clem had made it to the finals, I would say that Clem was the heavy favorite to win it all. I mean, he always is, especially in modern StarCraft. But between SHIN and MaxPax, we have seen SHIN defeat MaxPax before. I mean, relatively recently, I mean, in the off-season, I should say. The off-season era of StarCraft. But MaxPax, I would say, is the favorite player here. Is going to be coming in as the favorite player in PvZ, so I'm curious how this all unfolds. It's a best of 5. We're going to see Dynasty. 100%. 100%, Bobby. We're going to see Dynasty. Oh, no. Not again. I'm curious what SHIN does.